This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 497 for the week of Monday, November 27th, 2017. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
And on today's show, we have very special guest translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, what's up, guys? Not many weeks left in the year for One Piece. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to finish this arc.
Its days are numbered.
Well, this arc is supposed to end, and we're supposed to get the Reverie and the start of Wano. I could see that happening.
Yeah, in the next 3-4 weeks.
Well, if this was the end of One Piece, this could have happened. We've all seen Shonen get just like when they get to the part where it's like it's ending. They're like, all right, come on, wrap this up. You have a kid. You get an awful haircut. Congrats.
We also have our contributor from the Vintage Anime Club podcast. We have Dennis, also known as Itchnob. How's it going, Dennis?
It is going well. It is good to be back on One Piece Podcast.
Good to have you back. And finally, very special guest as well, we have the social media coordinator at Funimation. We have Godswill Ugwo back with us. It's been a little while. How's it going, Godswill?
Hey, thanks for having me back on. I'm very special. I feel very happy to be here.
I'm glad you do. On today's show, we have our manga recap of Chapter 886, Way of Life. We also have our anime recap. Ed, do you happen to have that information in front of you?
It was 813 and 814. I could be completely wrong about that.
I think you're correct.
Okay.
And you're going to go through those with Sam a little bit later in the show, so that's going to be fun.
Indeed. They are a good episode.
I can't tell what you're trying to get at all. We also have some piece together for you and a lot more as usual. And trivia at the end, which we have been doing and seems to be pretty successful. So we'll have that as well. I think, Steve, this will be your first time doing that. Just before we get started, Jump Festa, the traditional awesome convention where Oda has been making decreasingly huge appearances at, will be in a couple weeks, December 15th through the 17th, which just happens to be the weekend before our 500th episode and final episode of 2017. So we will hopefully be covering that in pretty cool ways. Keep an ear to the ground for more. Other than that, I want to mention we posted our most recent Patreon episode at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. It's over an hour long. It includes Steve ranting about something, which never happens on the Patreon episodes, as well as a lot of cool little mini segments, outtakes, test recordings, episode title discussions, which sometimes go on for way too long. And Steven and Jill do a mini trivia round where they see who could name, what was it? Who can name the underworld bosses?
That's right.
Who can't, yeah. So, fun as usual. So you could listen to all that at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast if you are a $10 and up subscriber. With that out of the way, I think we could get right into the show unless you guys have anything you guys want to mention. No?
No.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get started. This is the manga recap for Chapter 886, Way of Life, and we're going to start on the cover of Shonen Jump, which celebrates the 20th anniversary of One Piece. Steven, what's going on here?
Yeah, so I guess they did this at the event. This is technically the very last issue of 2017, and not literally, but it is the last Jump 2017 issue. The next week will be issue 1 for 2018.
Don't overthink that.
Right. So for the final issue of this 20th anniversary year in the magazine, they solicited fan art illustrations of Luffy from fans in Japan. And this is basically just exactly what the cover looked like in Japan, albeit with less ads on the front and other stuff. So you just kind of see this. And yeah, I didn't know this was coming. I mean, obviously I don't have any like advanced knowledge of what they're doing in Japan. But I understood what the concept was when I saw Greg, like when the issue came out in Japan, he was retweeting the fan artists who in Japan were saying like, oh, I got my, it's the same thing that they do with the Usopp Gallery Pirates, where they're like, hey, mine got in, and they have, they upload their version of the picture and then they show where it's, circled on the cover. So it's really cool that, people get bragging rights like that. Yeah,
I got my Luffy on the Shonen Jump cover. I mean, that is pretty cool.
It is.
Guys' thoughts on this beyond what Steven mentioned?
I think it's pretty.
Hey, it's pretty cool.
I wish I could draw.
Right?
I know.
Jealous that I couldn't submit.
Yeah, it's too bad. Maybe we'll have an international version of that one of these days. I'm sure if Shonen Jump here in the United States had more of a heads up there, they probably would have tried something like that, but who knows. Let's go to the color spread, which I believe is a first because it includes a reader request. Ed, do you want to explain what's happening?
Well, it's a crew watching Sanji do flips into a waterfall with armadillos. And Brooke and Nami and Chopper are all... they're not having a good time. They're falling into a waterfall. Robin is riding an armadillo, which looks pretty good. Yeah, Luffy's wearing these Beetlejuice pants.
I guess I would say if I was going to describe what the crew is doing in this picture, it would not be watching Sanji do flips.
It's not important, Steve. I think it was Adil pointed out how Sanji's giving a thumbs up to the armadillo next to him. Like they're giving each other thumbs up.
It is a thumbs
Wow.
up. Yeah,
That's nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're upside down, so it's a little more complicated to notice. This is a cool little color spread. I think everyone has an appropriate reaction here. Usopp particularly.
It has a whole lot of life to it, a lot of depth. Poses are really good. Colors are great. Every time Oda does stuff with like a rainbow color scheme, it usually comes out really well. One of my favorites was the last pre-time skip color spread with all of them together.
One where they
had
inked on each other?
Yes. It's another one of my favorites.
I know what you're
Similar color scheme. No, this is fun though. I like some of the poses. I think everyone looks good. So,
Yeah, for me, it's a little trippy. Being in Texas, seeing armadillos, and it's like, whoa, they're colored. That's not right. But I love this myself. I like seeing how everyone's just having a good time, although no one is really watching Sanji, like you said.
Robin shouldn't sit on them. That's not sanitary. They have many diseases.
They are rodents. Are they like prominent in Japan at all? Armadillos? I feel like that's not
in the great desert country of Japan.
Well, armadillos are more of like a Southeast American thing, as far as I know.
Zach, the proper name for them is tanukis, Zach.
That explains a lot. Yeah.
I like Brooke has a pizza shirt. That's cool. And some numerology stuff as usual with Oda. I'm almost positive that Nami, you can't see it because of her leg, but it's probably 73 on her shirt because that would be Nana and Mitsu for 3. That's her like little number code. And I know Sanji has 5, and I wonder if that's because his usual thing is Sun and G is 3 and 2, so 32. So I wonder if he combined those into 5.
Yeah, you can almost make out what looks like a 3 on his chest.
On his chest, yeah.
The Straw Hats sure have
shirt might be in the wash.
The Straw Hats sure have a lot of shirts with numbers that happen to be puns. Yeah.
Everyone knows all of their puns and purchases according.
Yes.
Any final thoughts on the armadillo spread? Just exactly like what it sounds like. Ed, you want to start the chapter off?
Then, okay, everyone clear the way. Time to haul the cake into the harbor. And oh, wow, this is incredible. In such a short time.
Ed is doing a verbatim reading here. Going on.
Yeah, it's an impressive cake. It's being pulled by a giant seal, apparently.
Sea lion.
Of course.
This is Chocolate Town, so his name is probably Chocleo.
Why? So when I searched seal versus, I was looking at the sea lions versus seals on Google, and a sea lion comes up. But when you search seal, the singer-songwriter Seal shows up first.
Well, duh.
I'm just glad that Zach is doing research for our podcast.
It's important. I think that is a seal. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I trust Steve with his animals.
Randos love the cake, and they know there's no way Mama won't love that cake. There's a frog, and he is in heaven. He's a delightful scent.
And on the next page, we have Chiffon, who is giving a look. That's as best as I could describe what's going on there. Meanwhile, the audience is saying, Lady Pudding and Chiffon and the Whole Cake Island 31 really know their stuff. And you see a shot of the Whole Cake Island 31 looking as diverse as you could look, I guess, in size and stature and neck. And anyway, they say, let's hurry. And one person asks Sanji why he's in disguise, and he explains that he is shy.
It's the best deadpan.
If only Pudding had heard that, she'd be dead.
She probably, who knows? Anyway, Pound looks over from a distance and says, "Ooh, it's Chiffon, my daughter." And Oven ellipses at this whole event here as to what's going on. And he steps up and he stops. It's literally a cake being drawn by, let's say, a sea lion or seal on a giant ball with a hat to match. And the chocolate wagon behind it with the cake. It's a scene. I'll put it that way. Anyway, they say, I believe this is Pudding saying, "Out of our way, Oven." And Oven responds that they said they would be striking back at Mama on, or I guess this might just be someone in the background. That Mama would be back on this island to ease her hunger pains, essentially. And Pudding explains that no, they're going to finish up the cake on the ship and stop Big Mom at sea. Because do you really want her going crazy here in Chocolate Town? And then instructs Oven to contact Brother Perospero so he could guide and meet them at sea. And Oven's like, yeah, you do make a good point. You shall pass. And Chiffon, mistaking this for something Oven is saying to her, says, "Oh, good, thank you, Brother Oven." And he says, "But you, Chiffon, you will stay here," and smacks her to the ground. Dennis?
Recovering from, going to the next panel, we see the onlookers are going, "Oh my goodness, Master Oven, how could you do that to your own sister?" As Chiffon is still lying on the ground. He's allowing the seal and the cake to pass through to go to the harbor, but Oven cannot sort of forgive the crime of rebellion, so to speak, because, they're all still wanted. We have Pudding yelling for Sister Chiffon, saying, also telling Oven to stop it, and Sanji is struggling what he should be doing, because he could remove his disguise and try to save Chiffon, but then both he and Pudding will end up getting punished, because I'm pretty sure Oven did not get memory affected by Pudding's powers. Chiffon still struggles to get up. She is saying that her debt doesn't end until she's seen Nami and her friends to safety, and she defiantly steps up and says, "I'm going to see this cake to completion, brother." And she also remembers how the Straw Hats have saved Lola's life, and then Honor demands that she repays the favor. We get an ellipses from everyone else, while Oven's starting to use some, I guess, his Devil Fruit abilities, saying that this isn't a sibling fight or some rebellious teen phase. Chiffon's a traitor who attempted to kill Big Mom. And as he basically picks her up by the neck and is going to, what I'm assuming is, punch her with his flaming fist. Chiffon is yelling for him to stop, but this is our country. We must uphold the rules, as Oven says to her before he attacks. And now Sanji's really wondering, should he even worrying about any of those consequences that are going to happen? But suddenly, Pound comes flying in. I don't know how he's able to jump that fast or that far. He says he's coming to save his daughter, and of course Chiffon, never knowing who Pound is like, "Who's this?"
He's jumping so fast that he's got a smoke ring around him.
Yeah.
Quite the look of shock from Chiffon. A lot of hatching on that panel.
Who's this guy?
Sanji doesn't know either, and as he senses that this is his chance, and then we get this awesome split second. It's like freeze frame here. Sanji's in the panel 1 second and then disappearing the next. and Oven is ready to punch Pound back. They're like their fists are arcing towards each other, and then something comes tumbling in, and it's Sanji, and he just kind of unloads with this spinning kick right on Oven's shoulder, and knocks Chiffon loose, and we see this moment of impact where you get this, sort of cracking, looks like maybe a little bit of hockey effect of some kind on Oven's neck there. And Sanji is explaining to himself and to the audience that all he has to do is jump in and save her so quickly that nobody notices him, which is about as ridiculous as when he said he was going to dodge Pudding shooting him in the face at the wedding, but that one worked out. So I guess
he's got confidence in himself.
Yeah.
He's been watching The Flash. That's what's going on.
It's weird since this whole arc was about him not having any confidence in himself, and then he has. But when it comes to fighting, yeah.
By the way, I'm faster than bullets.
Yeah, he's
try me.
No one wants me as part of their crew, but I'm faster than a speeding bullet, so there's that.
Well, he's got a purpose now, a true purpose. And then there's this panel. I wanted to stop and talk about this fourth panel on the left page right here, because this is such a good, even though it's not that big of a panel and there isn't that much detail on it, it's such a good study in motion, because you have 4 different characters in it that are each kind of moving via their own momentum. And there's so much information here, because you see Pound, he's swinging and missing. You get the little swish bubble. Oven is, from the force of Sanji's kick, is just getting rocketed into the wall in the background. And then you have Sanji, who is like spinning around and getting back to his feet in the direction of Chiffon, who is falling towards the ground. Like, it tells you so much. And
Oda drew that, because those are those characters in
exactly.
motion.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, that's all him. The only thing that the assistants did in this were probably the rubble in the background and the grass on the ground. But everything else very kinetic. And Pound, like, it's like he knows he missed, but he doesn't understand what happened. He's like, what? And meanwhile, Sanji is still in blur mode. He lands, crouches with his arms on Pudding, and then warns her, we're going to jump. And then she has just enough time to look down, what? And then, boom, they're gone.
On a Chiffon before we get corrections.
Oops, what did I say? Pudding?
Pudding.
Okay.
I mean, they look so similar, Steve.
Yes.
And speaking of Chiffon, I mean Pudding, she is smitten. Boof. She is in love. She is gaga over this act of heroism from Sanji. And I just love the subtlety of this. No, like, heart exploding. No, like, poof. It's just heart's eyes, slight nosebleed, big smile. This got a laugh out of me. Like, I legit laughed out loud reading this chapter. So good on you. And then a little time pass. Oven recovers from the rubble. His neck, his shoulders throbbing from that attack. And we pan out to Pound, who still holding out his fist. He's like, "Oh, I'm stronger than I thought." And everyone else is like, "Did he seriously just knock Master Oven out?" It's like, who is that? Who's that old guy? And he's like, huh? Where's Chiffon? And we get that nice little, like, boink, the space that they used to occupy is now empty. But then Oven gets super pissed, and with crazy speed lines, he dashes and says, "I know that wasn't you," and he punches Pound. He pounds Pound right back into Pound Town as if he was a celestial dragon.
He took
awesome
Pound to Pound Town. That's
again.
where he took him. Yeah.
The express expressway this time. I love the hatching on the fist. It's a good panel. And then Oven kind of observes the cart, which has taken off again. And he says, "Who was that?" And we get back to Sanji, and it's like, "Come on, let's hurry it up. Let's go." And we have now the front of the cart. Chiffon is now being hidden under just a blanket. And I'm sure this is Pudding saying, it's like, "Hey, stay hidden." And then, of course, they're yelling to the townspeople, "Please clear the way," as the speedy wagon is being pulled by a seal line on a ball. I didn't know they were better than horses. You learn something new every day. Close up on Chiffon, now with her being hidden, she says, like, "Blackleg saved me, but who was that enormous man?" And before she could barely even finish that thought, Oven has super speed, and he just catches up to the front of the cart and peels back the blankets. Is like, "There you are, Chiffon." And it was like, "Oh no!" And it's like, "Stop it, Oven!" And it's like, we need Sister Chiffon. We can't finish up the cake without her. I assume that's Pudding.
I love Pudding falling over Chiffon in the background of that as he uncovers her, falling down there.
There you are.
I think she was trying to like stay on top of the blanket to help hide her.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Oven speaks in kind of that super fast but baritone voice, like just this rushed baritone.
That's my take on Oven. I've been enjoying it.
I know that wasn't you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I see. You're reading the lines. I just enjoyed the quick realization to both these plans that neither is not quite what they seem like. I really thought Ovens would be like, "Oh man, I really got knocked out by my old stepdad." And it's like, "I know it wasn't you. I know you're under that blanket. Stop it." Speaking of Pound,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
We're gonna finish off this page. We cut back to Pound Town to see how Pound's holding up, and it's just barely grasping. I don't want to say he's barely alive, but he's barely conscious, and he's just like, "No, stop, Chiffon. Get your hands off Herg. Wheeze."
Actually, I like that you pointed out Oven's like quick reaction to this stuff, because like in some of the stuff since he showed up here in Chocolate Island, it kind of seems like he's sort of, I don't know, I want to say he's been dumb, but he's been very like susceptible to reason. Like they're just like, "No, Pudding said we can't go in there," and he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Make way." "Oh wait, Pudding said so? Oh, okay, I guess it's all right then." But I like that he wasn't fooled by this stuff, because it shows that like he can't just be outwitted by some really childish, like, if they could just hide under a blanket and then he's like, "Oh, where did they go?" It doesn't look very good for him. So I think this was a good like face saving measure for Owen as a character.
He reminds me of like a dad whose kids are playing and he's like, "I know where you are."
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Steven.
Yeah. So on the next page, we see Oven's transponder snail ringing, and it is a call from somebody in the fleet who says, "Master Oven, Bedge's ship is on its way to Cacao Island, and the fleet is on his tail. We're going to trap him in the port." And this is bad news for Chiffon, who, she thought that Capone was, fleeing to safety. And so did Oven. Thought he was a more heartless fellow, but he's going to come back for his wife. So perfect. And so he gets patched in on the loudspeaker to all these ships there. And now we see Capone's the Nostra Castello on the run as all the the plumes of or flumes, whichever it is, of water from the cannonballs landing near them as the fleet pursues. And so he's like, "What, Oven? What do you want?" And so Oven explains that he has just apprehended Bedge's accomplice, Chiffon, on Cacao Island. And that is alarming to the rest of the crew, because that's the Godfather's wife. And he explains that he's not going to hesitate to punish his own sister because he's a guy who upholds the law just as it is written. And so he warns him to head into port, disembark, and surrender. And so the ship continues bearing down. You can see the town in the distance. And Pez is crying, but Capone is cheering. He's consoling him. Dear, my baby boy, we're gonna go save Mama right now. And so
That was really good, by the way.
yeah, and so they are heading they're heading to the island from sea, while the folks from the town are heading out to the coast with their army. So they're going to clash right at the shoreline.
And one thing I've noticed that he's been doing in this chapter so far is like seamlessly switching between Denden Mushi bubbles and speech bubbles depending on who is on screen in that panel.
Mm.
It's a good attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but Chiffon seizes the opportunity to yell at the transponder snail, to yell at Bedge to take everyone and get away from here. This was my choice, and you're going to kill us all anyway. Get away and save yourselves. Once Mama decided she hated me, you were my only true family. So one day come back and get vengeance for me. It's a very impassioned speech. It's very good.
It's very nice of Oven to just hold the snail right in front of her mouth like that for her speech.
Yeah.
But
Hold on, Chiffon wants to say hi.
Gotti and Vito are very upset by this. No, ma'am, you can't say that. And Oven, after giving her this opportunity, apparently like bonks her on the head and says, "Keep your mouth shut." And Capone continues to Oven that he says, "I'm nearly at the harbor. I'll get off the ship. I'll get off the ship like you want. Just don't hurt Chiffon anymore." But in the port, Bedge's ship, they see it coming, and all forces are put on high alert to split the fleet to both flanks, cut off any and all escape paths. And the men on the ship, I can see Bedge's ship now, and you can see Master Oven's cart. But Oven looks up, like, what? His head explodes, basically. That's I did not see that coming. Although you can kind of hear the in the previous panel, and then his head just blows up.
And
there's a little noise.
And he never comes back.
Oda had a lot of practice drawing Chiffon in that pose this chapter.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just falling.
Yeah, that's happened like 8 times at this point in this chapter alone. God's will. What's next?
Master Oven's been shot. As he's tumbling off into the side, I guess. It's like, what just happened, sir? Over the Denden Mushi. And then Chiffon with her stunned face. Oh, you fool. And then everyone's cheering on the fire tank ship. Rah! And then I wish I had a better accent. I should have chose these lines. But watch closely, Pez, and remember, this is your daddy's way of life. Godfather! That's a good shot, by the way. Like, how do you, like, Master Oven was holding her head so close. That's what's up. That's some skill right there.
Hockey?
It's really powerful.
Is that hockey?
Too.
Yeah, I really want
I don't want to. I hope not.
Yeah.
That is
So,
some gun.
The gun's probably a cannon.
It's like an Outlaw Star
part of his
caster
body,
thing.
or-
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I like the Outlaw Star.
Yeah.
I like that.
But
Sanji-
it's also a real like kind of Godfather-y thing. It's like, oh, you're holding my hostage, but I'm still gonna shoot you in the face.
Mm-hmm. I like how even the baby is cheering like that. So everyone knows what's going on. Like, how far away are they from the sea? Like, what just happened?
It's best not to think about that.
I don't know.
Okay.
Babies
Yeah.
are very easily entertained. They're just cheering because
I
everyone's
mean, this one
cheering.
has stubble anyway, so yeah. Sanji is like, nicely done. We're with you, Beige. What now? Fire tank pirates, we have you completely surrounded. And then Beige doesn't care. He's like, let's do this thing. Oh no, now we've made a brother Oven furious. Pudding's freaking out. and Chiffon's madly in love with her husband.
Chiffon's face there is my favorite face. Maybe this
Sure.
arc. It's like this tiny
Sure.
but very well drawn, like kind of just like blank expression. I don't
It makes
even-
me think of Prison School, actually. You know, like where you see Gakudo just so detailed and almost scary, but you see it like in these panels.
Exactly. It's so weird
yeah.
in that little tiny panel though for that to like I don't know.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a Hajime no Ippo where they
Oh,
do
yeah.
the stills. I mean, they do it in Yu Yu Hakusho too, but yeah, it's like she's in a
Oh yeah.
like a hatched painted still, but everyone else is still like
She's not
this on
listening.
manga style.
Those lips, they really stand out. And then Master Oven, he gets up and he's like, okay, you really want to fight now. Let's go. He doesn't say it. It's all in the look right there. In that little panel. Like, picture's worth 1,000 words.
It's implied.
Yes. And then, meanwhile, on the Thousand Sunny, I see a number of ships in the distance. So they've come at last. Prepare to fire cannons. We can't always be on the defensive. Jinbei is yelling commands out to the rest of the ship. I'm really loving his position as helmsman. I'm so excited to see him do his thing. Chobro, you bet. Hey, Chobro. Do you think tonight will be a full moon?
What?
Baby, I'm just trying to see tonight. Come on now, let's get to work.
Let's just throw this wrench into the plot and then leave immediately.
Well, I mean, I guess the minks have a power.
Yeah, we've discussed this a lot, and we'll discuss this at the end, but because there's still another page. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm really
Gatzel.
interested to see what that means.
Yeah.
And then on to the saltiest island of One Piece. This is Chipstown, and we've spotted Straw Hat Luffy.
I
Chock-full
love
town.
this island.
Fucking British shit.
How is it
kinds of
British?
There's
shit,
both chips. Yeah.
You know, I didn't think about the French fries.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
it's
why
being
are on
chips. Yeah.
Chipstown? Ah.
It's more like Potato Island.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
you can see them on the shoreline. Those are the potatoes down there.
Wait,
No,
is this?
Zach, that's Ireland.
Wait. So is this? We are going to offend every country before we are done with this show.
Oh, it's
This is
I love it.
Chipstown.
Like that.
Is this the one Katakuri's mayor of? Because isn't he starch?
Oh.
Like, isn't that what that?
Someone put a brulee in me potato.
Oh, man.
Anyway, I would go there and eat everything there. But anyway, go ahead.
Mochi potato.
Make sure you bring a lot of water, though. High blood pressure is a thing.
If we ever see the mayor of that town, Ed's doing the voice. Go ahead.
Oh god.
Chock-full town checking in. Eyewitness reports of Straw Hat. It seems like he's racing all over Mirror World. Mirror World. Not that would be Mirror and then World, but whatever. It doesn't matter.
Wait, why is it chock-full town, Stephen?
That's what I was wondering.
Okay, so I
Chock
don't really
full of nuts? I don't know.
yeah, so that was I guess a bit of creativity on my part because he used a really weird name. And most of the names of the towns and the islands and stuff are like directly based on food. But this one was, God, what was it? I think it was Oshimuna Island, and I looked and I could not find any reference to like a foreign loan word for some kind of food. It wasn't like, chips or nuts or chocolate or anything like that. And so I had to assume that it was Japanese, which would basically mean like don't skimp out or like don't hold back islands or something like that. And so I was trying to think, and I was like, I was considering going for like Seconds Island, like I'll have Seconds, another plate. But then it occurred to me that he could easily use that because there is another word for seconds that he could use instead, and then I'd be stuck. So I was like, okay, so I just tried to come up with a snappy word that was like, a whole bunch of food at once. So that was my idea.
I like that. That's
Why is
cool
it, why
detail
is
right
it
there.
next to Coffee Town or something like that? Is it chock full of nuts? Chock full Nuts Island, Coffee Town.
Anyway,
That is so
Godzilla,
legit.
yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Did he catch Sister Brule again? Luffy trying to catch his breath. Greentown speaking. I've got a suspicious sighting in a ... What do you think? Was that?
No, I was going to say, so Katakuri seems like he's stuck only listening to what's happening, not really able to do anything there.
Where is he? Is that where they were fighting before?
Yeah, that's the mirror world.
So he can't
Gotcha.
escape the mirror world unless Brulee's there.
Yep.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay. That's a really good point.
Which kind of is what the end here is about. But yeah, go ahead.
Gotcha. So what do you think you're doing? If you need to escape, why not just go to Cacao Island? Why would you know about that? Luffy asked Brule. Because I overheard them talking. Huff, huff. Wait, who's breathing? So Brule's breathing hard, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought it was Luffy who was breathing hard the whole time. Gotcha. Hockey runs out as you use it. If the fight goes on long enough, his observation hockey is going to get weaker, guaranteed. Wee, 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 wee. You might look dumb, but you're sharp when it comes to battle, eh? I was
That's about
looking
it.
at.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying
about
that's
to
just
say-
pretty much Luffy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Luffy
like,
in a nutshell. Yeah,
He's a savant when it comes to fighting and
Yeah.
eating. Well, that's not good enough. What? And then back to Rayleigh thinking about before the 2-year time skip training sequence. Listen, Luffy, I've given you training now, but the real advancement in hockey happens during extreme use in battle. The stronger the foes you face with this power, the stronger you'll become with it.
Did Rayleigh get contact lenses during the time skip that I didn't know about?
No, he's super serious. You have to take his glasses.
Oh yeah.
I didn't notice this right away, but I'm looking and I'm like, oh, he looks really weird because he doesn't have his glasses on.
Like, Luffy, we need a heart-to-heart. Like, remove my glasses. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably
it's like
misses
a-
his old glasses.
Yeah. He gets broken under finds mantles or something like that. But I really like Luffy's determined face as he's remembering what Rayleigh's saying to him, and this just makes me so excited to see like what's going to happen with the hockey. Really hinting that there's going to be a lot of growth that could happen within this battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if I could also see a bit of the future. And it's like, oh, some more hockey powers right here. Let's go. And he's like, stop dreaming already, Shrimpy. I want to surpass him. I want to beat the Billion Berry Man at his best.
That is
Dun, dun,
alliterative.
dun.
Yeah, that concludes 886. Thank you all for going through that with us. Thoughts on this chapter? Steve, do you want to start us off?
I love this chapter a lot. It had like a few big things going. One is getting the cake off the island and the whole scuffle with Pound. The scuffle with Pound and Oven, but Oven is deplorable for attacking a woman. I was like, hey, that's the opposite of what Sanji does. They're gonna fight. Sort of, but great moment for Chiffon because she almost like made a declaration as if like it was one of the Straw Hats joining the crew, saying, "I'm going to see this cake to completion." It's like saying, I'm going to see this cake is completed to the end of the Grand Line or something like that. And then, of course, the moment of Pound going in for a pound on Oven's face, and then Sanji interferes was a really cool segment. I finally realized on the one page that now, besides the hair and the similarities between Pound and his daughters, is they have the same nose. Look it up.
Now.
Google it. Well, his are his lips as profound as that? I don't know. I thought they were a little more cartoony, but
Is
like I
profound the word you're looking for there?
Uh,
Pronounced.
said, voluptuous,
That's more like it.
hysterical moment with Pudding. Like the pages I did were my favorite pages of this chapter. Really enjoyed the exaggerated punch and how easily Oven is like uncovering like this plan. You know, besides the Sanji part, I love his transponder snail. I just like the idea that like Oven is the most interesting, boring guy. Like aesthetically, he looks really cool, but he probably never has anything interesting to say. He's not really expressive in his voice. This is this new headcanon I have for Oven. Like he's probably not a really good actor, but he doesn't let stop him. And of course, the big moment with Bej coming in, saving her awesome panel. I love the panel when he gets shot in the face. It's just drawn very well, and I want to see more ragdoll chiffon. I want more of that. The full moon, I remember that bit. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. Maybe Enru's coming back, you guys.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's what the mink
Hey,
summon
Chobro,
Enru.
It's like, hey, Chobro, do you think tonight will be a full moon? That's right. He just floats in. I have an army, and it's like, who the hell's that guy? And then, of course, the going back, seeing Rayleigh. It's nice to see Rayleigh again, and I've been loving the Luffy and Katakuri fight, and it's just gonna get badass when Luffy. I guess it'll be his. What's the hockey that Katakuri is really good at?
Observation.
I guess Luffy's gonna improve his observation hockey. So that's to me. I'd rather see that than a fifth gear. I mean, chill, people.
Oh yeah,
chill.
Yeah, it kind of bugs me that he's talking like Goku right now. It kind of bugs me.
Yeah.
Come on.
But I mean, I just don't understand why he has to like ultimately win this fight. It feels like, I don't know. It feels like he should be smarter than this.
Yeah, especially now that they're just in emergency mode. It's not about winning; it's about escaping and just getting Sanji back.
He's lost the plot a little bit.
Well, but he needs to become the Pirate King, and in order to become the Pirate King,
true.
he has to be able to beat people like or at the level of Katakuri and higher.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Although I would have thought that the focus would have been fighting Big Mama eventually, like when you get the whole squad.
Yeah, but
that's, I don't know. Katakuri is more of like a direct, like, I have fought him and we have either drawn or I have lost. I need to eventually beat him, so why not do it now? I'm here. Yeah. Godswill, what did you think of this chapter?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, just definitely seeing Sanji get back in there, and it looks like even like sort of expanded powers. I mean, I've never seen him go that fast, or maybe I'm just not remembering correctly. But to see him like kick some butt, like high speed like that, and go back like nothing happened, that's exciting. Happy to see some movement with the cake finally done, and it's finally being taken in. I didn't notice the sea lion thing really. I was just so taken in by like the whole environment, and then you guys showcased that, and that made me laugh. I had to mute my mic actually when you guys were talking about that. And also now I'm going to start a personal counter for the times that Chiffon's going to start falling. What else? I am pretty excited to see the relationship between Pudding and Sanji. You know, I didn't really want to like believe in it, but this looks like it could be a more established thing in the future. What else? Sage, he got a lot cooler to me. I'm super excited to see him go at it with Oven and the rest of the island. And I'm really hoping that he is able to really stop everyone that's not there. I think he should be able to. Like, he's worst generation, able to take out everyone. And then, of course, Luffy talking about all this hockey stuff, and talking about getting back into the fight. It's pretty much like Mayweather, Pacquiao, ding, 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 let's get back into the fight. Let's go. So, yeah, this hyped me up so much more, and it's just making me sad that, there's so many breaks in between. I'm like, can we have this fight already, please?
I mean, I guess we should compare it to a fight that was actually good.
Yeah, right. I was thinking boxing, but I was like, people are not gonna like that analogy right there. But yeah, like it's at least the hype for this fight is equal to the hype for that fight. And this one is going to be a real good fight.
Steven, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. This is a really great chapter. There was lots to love. The relationship, like we've seen a lot of Capone and Chiffon through this arc, and I think this was like the best chapter for them yet. Like, you really see how strong their bond is, which is not something that you often see a lot of with these sort of side characters. in One Piece. So I thought that was really cool. The scene with Sanji and Oven. I was expressing my admiration for how he Oda sort of blocked that out earlier. I thought that was really, really sharp, and I also really have enjoyed. I have to admit, I've enjoyed a lot of times when it comes to these sort of side enemy characters, where they're being sort of placed in the path of one of the heroes in order to serve as like a battle opponent. A lot of times my historical concern about those, or the reason why I get sort of, oh, okay, here we go again, is because they often just seem really transparent as like, okay, this character needs to fight somebody in this arc, so here you go, here's this character I invented just for you to fight. And it seems too obvious, but I feel like for all the plot reasons, like this was perfectly set up. Like it's all the actions that the characters are taking make sense for what they need to be doing right now at this point in the arc. And, just sort of naturally letting that drama play out. I feel like he did a really good job with setting that up, which made it feel a lot more natural, an outcome that they're going to be fighting Oven here. So I thought that was great. And, as far as Luffy versus Katakuri, I see both sides of what you were just saying. Like, yeah, on the one hand, it is kind of a distraction from the main goal, but on the other hand, it does perfectly make sense for what Luffy needs to do, even if it's not exactly, maybe 100% the best thing he could be doing for the crew at this exact moment. So, I'm sure the results will be awesome, because it's been a while since I think we had a really good fight like this for Luffy, a one-on-one fight like this, several arcs. So I'm looking forward to it.
The thing I worry about, just not like because it would make the plot better or anything, is like, in kayfabe, I suppose, to use wrestling terms, what's going to be happening to the rest of the crew when Luffy's off fighting Katakuri? That's the thing that I worry about. Like, Luffy's going to be busy while bad shit's happening and he can't do anything about it. So I worry about that a little bit. But.
Well, it could also be that's like the chance for Sanji to step up and take a more central role, because it is his arc in a way.
Last year was the year of Sanji. This year is also kind of the year of Sanji, right? Or was that this year?
The year of Sanji never ends.
2017. Or was it 2016 or 17?
It's going to continue into
2017.
It's going to continue into 2018 for a little bit, and then we get the Reverie, and then we get Wano.
Dennis, what did you think?
I'm probably just going to echo what a lot of people have already said, but so I'll try to keep stuff different as I can. When Zach talked about researching between Seal and Sea Line and Messages Singer Seal, I've had Kiss from a Rose stuck in my head the entire time we've been doing this manga recap, so thank you for that.
That's what I'm here for.
Got to do that for karaoke next time I go. Sanji being my second favorite Straw Hat, I definitely echo Pudding's sentiment when she had the hard eyes and nosebleed. I was like, whew, oh my. That was a fun attack. So I enjoyed his little Barry Allen flash speed going along, attacking Oven. I agree as well. I have to disagree with Ed and agree with what everyone else was saying about how I think the Katakuri-Luffy match actually will be important, especially for Luffy's growth, because, like we already said, him being the foil right here, that will help Luffy grow a little bit better. And yeah, he's talking like Goku, but it's more of like, if he can't defeat Katakuri, what hope does he have of defeating Big Mom or any other emperor? So that's why I feel like it's kind of necessary. And Bej going against Oven like that, I don't know if he'll get a full-on fight or if it's going to be like the whole Fire Tank Pirates going against Big Mom's forces there on Chocolate Town. Who knows what's going to happen with there. So excited to see his powers put to better use rather than just for comedic usage. And like I never really liked Bej prior to this arc, but he's been growing on me.
Yeah, same for me too.
Yeah. Then the whole full moon thing, I just have to keep waiting to figure out what's going to happen. Now, is it going to be one full moon or two full moons, you guys?
I'll probably talk more about that.
Okay.
Ed.
God, honestly, I don't have too much to add, but I enjoyed the chapter overall. I mean, I am concerned about where the Luffy versus Katakuri is going, but I'm excited to see where that goes as well. So, um, yeah, I love the relationship between Chiffon and Brule, and Oven sort of being a straight man to goofy antics, and then because he's also clearly very strong, is pretty funny to me. But just other than that, I love the timing of Oven getting shot in the face. It's very good timing, and
Always great.
the carnival atmosphere of the sea lion, with a hat like he's James Brown living in America. Apollo Creed over here hat, or possibly a Dennis Rodman hat. Take off that silly ass hat.
So that rig is running on a one seal power, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what I had to add. But everyone else has sort of said my piece as well.
Good. Your one piece. Anyway, yeah. So my thoughts. I really sorry. I really like this chapter a lot. I guess it is transitional, but I think Oda did a really good job with every character here, having kind of a standout moment. Even Pound. And also just I forget it, but I'm just like looking at the first page of the chapter here, and there's tons of background characters. There's a Tomtada in the front there, so it's just always good to see Oda's kind of display of every little thing going on he has planned. I gotta say, I'm really digging Oven in general. I think Alex and Steve had mentioned this on Twitter or in the podcast, respectively. He's totally the boring guy who has the cool design and
all flash, no substance.
All flash, no substance. But I'm totally bought. I don't know why.
Which I don't know why I would rag on other characters for being that. Law. No,
maybe because we don't get Oven in such great doses.
Yeah.
And also, Oven is more pandering to, I feel like, our kind of taste than Law, which is a very different, it's a different kind of person. I think they're trying to
demographic.
Mm-hmm. That's the word I was looking for.
At this point, we're long-term One Piece fans. It's just like we just want the ridiculousness at this point.
That's true.
I mean, that's what I look for.
I think Oven and Pound both have little pieces of that for us in this chapter, and it's good to see. And Kelly on Twitter mentioned the return of Sanji in glasses, which I feel like it's been maybe since Mr. Prince in the manga since we've seen.
I was gonna mention that earlier. I want to know if these were yellow tinted sunglasses because I would be losing my mind. But I think those have been left behind. He's no longer Mr. Prince. He ditched those sunglasses when fighting Mr. 2.
Didn't he also have regular glasses in Skypiea?
I think you're thinking of Nami.
Yeah, that was Nami.
Maybe.
I'm going through the most important parts of this chapter. Oven's transponder snail might be my favorite transponder snail. Just saying. I love it. Capone, in this arc, I think has been one of the most standout secondary characters. We've had a lot of development from him, and yet he's been completely true to the character we were originally introduced with back at Shabari. And his relationship, as was mentioned here with Chiffon, has been really cool to see develop here, and I completely buy all of this. And Chiffon gets a lot of, mostly she's thrown around a lot in this chapter. But I think she gets put in positions that Oda has been squeamish to put women in the past. So I do really appreciate that. And the little glimpse we get of the crew, and here we go, the full moon. Sam mentioned this, and it's a good point. Does this mean it's been a month since we've been at Zoe, the last time we saw a full moon? There were people contacting me when I retweeted that and said, there are many moons in the One Piece world. The thing is, we've only seen one moon, like canon existing today. There's only been one moon. So, I mean, who knows the amount of moons or the amount of time that's passed, but do you guys have any ideas of what you hope, or at least what do you hope to see out of this this positing kind of the full moon thing here in the middle of a chapter for no particular reason
Anaru.
besides Anaru.
I mean, that's what I hope. I know what's going to happen. It's just like, Carrot's going to go all
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, Teen
Rabbit.
Teen Rabbit. Teen Rabbit.
Teen Bunny. Teen Bun. There's no good pun, but yeah, she's gonna get all feral probably. Now I'm thinking of that. Oh God, now I'm thinking of that John K. Yogi Bear cartoon.
Or it could even be like DBZ or Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they all turn into giant monkeys. All the minks.
I was gonna say she does like Aisha Clan from Outlaw Star, who also uses her power.
Oh, a lot of Outlaw Star references this week.
Yeah, I was a little.
Yeah, it was a good thing.
I was a little miffed, I guess, about the way that he brought this up, because I don't know if there's a great, like, it's either he has to explain that there are multiple moons, which he has never, like you said, Zach, he has never expounded upon or hinted at in any way other than that one particular drawing, or he has to explain that it has been a full month since, so, which was never really hinted at or explained in any way. The only thing that he did do, I think, to set this up, this like story beat up, was by specifically placing that time limit at like 1 a.m. or whatever it is, because I mean, One Piece, I think especially, it runs on like comic book time. Like Oda doesn't go out of his way to like establish how long things take or when this is going to happen, how far they have to go for this or that. It's only if it's really necessary.
There's been a lot of that this arc though. Like the wedding took place at a certain time. And...
Right. So he would only introduce that time, like, how long it's going to take, exactly how long it's going to take to make this cake, if it was important for some particular event or time of day to happen. So saying that it's going to take 6 hours, like he could have just not said that at all, and then we just see, the scenes would all play out. It would still be during the day. Nobody would think twice about it. But because he did that and established that, this is going to end in the middle of the night, it's like, okay, well, why would he do that? Why would it end in the middle of the night unless the moon, something to do with this? So, he did set this up to happen, but it does seem a little out of left field because he didn't make it clear that it had been a few weeks since, Zoe. But whatever.
There's one more.
I'm excited to find out what the answer is. For
there's one more thing, and there might be people out there who are like, how do you know it's the same length of time for the moon to reach that phase? Greg, I think it's still on his website, thegrandline.com/onepiece.html. He did a whole study. If you think I'm crazy about moons, about the phases of the moon in One Piece chapters through, I think it's like at least through the end of Baroque Works, Skypiea maybe, and just and how the phases of the moon actually all go through, certain each phase, throughout the storyline. And Oda clearly was paying very close attention to that, even at the beginning of the series. So, that's the moon plays some sort of role in One Piece. That's all I'm trying to say. Steve could make fun of me about it later. Any other final thoughts?
I do want to point out one minor detail, since we didn't talk about it, but if you go back and look at all the stuff that the background artists were drawing with the cake wagon, you'll notice that there is a large, in addition to like the pot with the chocolate and the cream and stuff, there is a large bundle that is covered up with some kind of canvas and tied up with string, and it's larger than anything else there, and it's very conspicuously placed in a lot of these panels in the background. And so I wonder if me and Greg are wondering if that is going to be the bride and groom decoration to go on top of the cake, and what that is actually going to look like, because why else would he have it covered up like that?
It does have to be a wedding cake,
specifically drawn. Exactly.
No, it's a good thing Sanji and Pudding agreed not to stand on top of the cake again. That would be bad. Also, we'd be like, where did Pudding and Sanji go? Their clothes are here.
Okay. Back to the orphanage. So that's going to do it for our manga recap. Why don't we go into our anime recap? You guys ready?
All right.
Toho.
Major film studio in Japan.
Yaro.
Guys,
We are Toho Yaro, the Toho guys.
we're a monthly movie club podcast where we watch a Japanese film and talk about it.
We discuss things like the existential dread of Akira Kurosawa's Ikiru,
And a cat portrait that barfs gallons of blood and house.
And just who is Tora-san?
Explore the world of giant monsters, historic swordsmen, and melodramatic truckers from Toho Studios and beyond with us,
Toho
Yaro.
part of the Maji Media Network, available wherever you get your podcasts.
We
are
are
Maji.
Maji.
This is the double anime recap for episodes 814 and 815. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have Ed.
That was strong intro. Yes, I'm here again. Some decent episodes this week.
Our first episode is 814, Shout of the Soul, Brooke and Pedro's Lightning Operation, and the title card begins at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. It begins with Pedro running through the halls, blowing some dudes up with dynamite, tossing everything behind him as he runs.
Well, first half of this episode was very cool.
We on the other end of this sort of conflict, we've got Brooke facing off with some of Big Mom's minions, and there's a moment where two of the guys, they're trying to quickly close the door to the treasure repository before Brooke can get in. They close it, they take a breath, they're like, whew, they turn. Brooke's there. He moved so fast they didn't see him. He's very light on his feet, as we know.
This is all like Brooke and Pedro being cool and stuff blowing up.
Yeah.
It's all for like first half of this episode, and I love it.
Brooke takes care of the doormen, and then we turn to see a much more colorful batch of minions. Like, these all look like they could be guys who have names, but I don't think they do.
Yeah, probably not.
On the other side of the door is Tamago and Smoothie is now watching the door, knowing that there's people running around. Pedro is blowing things up. They've determined that he's bait right now, and they're like, okay, let's make sure that nobody gets into this room. And I guess they don't realize that Brooke is already in the room.
I do like the conceit of Smoothie. Actually, they were all kind of dumb enough to run outside of the treasure room. What's wrong with them?
But Smoothie's on watch, and we know that Smoothie is one of the strongest of Big Mom's children. So if anyone tried to get through the door at this point, they'd probably have a hard time. There's a big battle with Brooke and the Peacekeepers. He's saying, Pedro told me that through Big Mom's ability, you're all infused with human souls, which means that you chess pieces are driven by soul. And this is when he's pulling the guitar out of his outfit. Like, I guess he just like keeps it in there. I mean, he's empty.
That's true.
He's empty, so I guess he just like hides his guitar like in his ribcage.
But you know how heavy guitars are. You work in a music shop, right? Yeah.
And so he's pulling out he's playing his guitar. Electricity is going everywhere. This big green ghost monster comes out. He's saying, "Oh, but you don't know my other name, do you, baby?" He's putting on a show. My other name is the Soul King, and he's strumming his guitar, and the big ghost is going wild.
That's pretty cool. As I said, it looked like the cover of like a Insane Clown Posse album.
This brings us to the eye catch of the episode. We return to a scene.
That was the whole first half of that episode. That was cool stuff, just like running around blowing stuff up and being cool with Brooke and Pedro.
We return to a scene where Sanji is talking to an eggplant-shaped head sombrero man, talking about flowers, and Sanji's deciding to spend his time picking some flowers to give to Pudding. Then we come back to the Carrot and Chopper subplot, where Carrot is hovering. They're in the little Hansel and Gretel house. Carrot is tied up, hovering over this big boiling pot. They're waiting to dip her down and eat her. The crocodile is saying, she looks crocalicious, is what the subtitle says.
That was funny, but this whole scene is like, I'm going to be happy when Chopper and Carrot are free so they can rejoin the rest of the plot already.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this sort of a holding pattern. This is Luffy and the snake.
Exactly, yeah. This is the point where I'm like, man, this subplot has been officially going on too long.
Because they never give it time. They never give it time until now, and we get all of it.
Well, they gave it lots of time. It's just they would cut to it, to show like a repetitive scene to buy time in like basically every episode up until now. This is the first time where we're like, okay, we're reaching the climax of this whole subplot here. Chopper is inner monologuing the plan that he figured out with Carrot. It turns out that the carrot we see hovering over the pot is not the real carrot. It's one of Brulee's animals. It's a frog who looks like Carrot, and the real Carrot is in the ceiling, pretending to basically being a ventriloquist through the frog, who we can hear is going gecko gecko all the time. Mm-hmm. Randolph is about to cut the frog down, and this is when Carrot makes her big, like it's blatantly a baseball pitch where she like lifts her leg and throws the rock and knocks the whole deal loose, and she's hanging down on the fake Carrot, and then you've got the two rabbit girls moment, and Chopper, he's like, okay, this is my moment. And turns out he's not. He can just shrink down, get out of the ropes easy. Then he goes monster point.
that was the part I'm like, oh, come on, really? He just shrinks and the chains come off. It makes sense, but I'm like, well, I guess he had to wait.
Because I think it is sea prism stone, but I think like as long as they catch him in one of his transformed states, then he can always still go back to his original form or his hybrid form. Chopper's powers have always been weird like that. Right. The monster point happens, and then the episode wraps up with Pudding visiting Luffy and Nami in prison. She asks her brother Opera, "Hey, can I talk to these guys real quick?" And I like how one of the peacekeepers has to pull out like a bookmark to bend the bars so she can get through. That's a neat little thing. And she gets on her knees and she's chatting to her quote unquote friends, and she's like, so yeah, guess what? Sanji proposed to me, and she's kind of smiling, got a little tear in her eye. The scene, the final moment is this scene juxtaposed to Sanji in like the flower areas picking flowers, and then it's to be continued, which I thought was a really kind of a weird cutoff point for the scene. We don't really get to the point of the scene.
I don't know. It was kind of. I kind of like that it ended. That Sanji was in there, like they cut him into the scene. But yeah, I thought by the way that the next episode preview was going, that she wasn't going to say that stuff until a
little later in,
until like the end of next episode. Fortunately, I was wrong, but the next episode
it's just like
it looked that way
because the way that the original chapter was paced is that like Pudding visits them, she gives her whole, she whispers them. We establish the secret, and then that's the cliffhanger. But here the cliffhanger is Pudding announcing something we already know. So,
well, Luffy doesn't know it, and it's shocking to him. But that's about. But not the rest.
But this isn't even the shocking part yet. The shocking part is in the next episode.
Let's start talking about that one.
Yeah. So, episode 815. Goodbye. Pudding's tearful determination. The title card begins at 4 minutes and 27 seconds. The scene continues. She's like, "Okay, Sanji proposed to me. But I know he was just being nice. I'm not going to marry him."
This is actually a really good 2-episode stretch to watch back to back because it's like
it's like basically all the same scenes, but with the first half of all the scenes in the first episode and the second half of all the scenes in the second episode. And so this is the point where she leans in and she whispers something into both of their ears, and they are shocked. They're like, "What? No, Pudding? What? No!" And then she's leaving them. She's got a tear in her eye. She's wiping it. She's got a little smile. She's like, "Goodbye." And I remember when this happened in the manga, we're just like, is she going to kill herself?
No, but they said, she says, "I'm not going to marry him," which I don't think she said in the last episode. She says that's the first thing she says, and then she whispers the secret, and then they get all upset.
Yeah, and then she leaves. It's very short, which is this part of the scene is very short, which is why it's extra confusing why they didn't just make room for it in last week's episode. But whatever. So we come to a scene with Vince Smokes.
Tea boys again.
Yeah, and I really like the tea and green tea, and they're like singing their little song, asking which one do you want, and Niji's just like booze. And they're like they're distraught.
They're offended.
Like, they're offended. Like, but if you had to choose one, and then he's like, okay, fine, tea. And then tea is happy and green tea is sad. They suggest taking Pudding hostage because they're dealing with pirates after all. It turns out they don't entirely trust the family that they're uniting with.
Just funny given what they do, but
yeah. And then they're talking about, you know, if it turned out that Sanji had to get killed because we were reckless, we would live with it. They back to Eggplant Man and Sanji.
I'm just continually like amused by Judge's, you know, whiny wiener voice.
Yeah,
he's not a manly man.
Back to Eggplant Man and Sanji. The Eggplant Man basically went for a grocery run for Sanji, so Sanji could cook something up. He has the news that Luffy and Nami are in prison, and this is the first time that Sanji's hearing this. He's a little shocked, but then he remembers, okay, as long as I go through with the wedding, I've got my promise with Big Mom. I can rely on that for some reason. And so
he also hears about Brook and Pedro.
Yes. And then we come back to the Mirror World scene, and the big pot, the big stew pot is all over the ground. Brûlée is writhing around, and it's burning her. It's hot. Carrot takes this moment to use her electro to zap the water and electrocute Brûlée some more, which is a great move. Chopper is grabbing the crocodiles by his tail and slamming them. It looks great. Then there's the train man, Diesel. He's booking it. He's like, you can't catch me. I'm gonna alert everyone. I'm gonna, get reinforcements.
This whole thing is Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
like it's barely one. It's barely One Piece. It's like reminds like do. It's like that's all, folks.
Well, I love how like this is a moment where like Carrot gets to look like very rabbit like as she like zips. She like zips around the corner, books it to Diesel, catches up with him real quick, and Garp chews him to death, which is the best way to die.
It's funny. This is actually pretty good, but it's just
and he crashes into the wall, and victory. The Carrot and Chopper have beaten Brûlée's forces.
I'm happy that the fight's over.
Yes, and then we come back to Brook versus Big Mom's minions. This is like a really great looking fight. The animation looks fantastic. It goes on for a little while. The choreography is good. He's using his hell ice to cut them up. He beats them all basically, and like in the heat of the moment, he's I can't. I didn't write down the whole sentence, but it ends with him saying like something about his face and having a face to lose. And he's so proud of his own pun.
Doing skull jokes, and no one's listening.
Yeah, he's so proud of his pun. He just like keeps saying, "He's like, a face to lose, a face to lose." Like he's echoing his own pun.
A part of us all. A part of us all. A part of us all.
Exactly. And everyone's unconscious. The eye catch comes just as Big Mom seems to be showing up on the scene.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Big Mom arrives. He's like, I'm going to take care of this myself. And even Smoothie has to like take a step and just let her mom punch through the door. And Big Mom is there, and Brook is already up on top. He's already breaking. He's got the key. He's breaking into the little poneglyph cage room. He's doing whatever he's doing up there. And he turns and he's like, oh God. Big Mom! Like he's freaking out that he's going face to face with Big Mom herself. The first of the Sanji rescue team to do so.
Yeah.
And Big Mom looks like, I can't remember the Digimon's name. She looks like the main Digimon from Digimon Tamers.
I don't.
As she's got like sparkles in her eyes, she's like, "Oh, what strange creature are you?"
I don't know anything about Digimon. We should get Jeff on here. He would know.
Then we come to a scene where Reiju, Sanji's sister, is sneaking around the castle for some reason, doing some Solid Snake espionage.
And it's actually a really cool staging of her, like the picture, like the shot of her from far away up on the ledge.
Yeah, she's going outside. Yeah. She's sneaking into the clearing where there are all these flowers. I think she's trying to reach Sanji.
Mm-hmm.
And then a gun shows up, and to keep it mysterious, they stylized it so like we can't see who it is. It's just like a big void where the gun's coming out of the shadow, and boom, bullet shot, blood splatter. We come back.
I want someone to make a mashup of from Who Shot Mr. Burns of like, oh, it's you. What are you so happy about?
We come back to Pedro versus Big Mom's minions, and this leads him outside, where he gets to confront Baron Tamago, and then there's this whole scene where we learn a little bit more about their rivalry thing. They're both missing an eye, it turns out.
That was a really cool scene too, and
Baron
it's
Tamago.
really clear.
Yeah.
It's really clear how much Pedro is actually based off of Antonio Banderas in Desperado. Like, it's just the hair, the attitude, everything.
Wait, does Antonio Banderas lose an eye?
No, I don't think he's missing an eye, but he's got like the tragic backstory. Like his family was killed in that movie.
Yeah. Man, I've seen that movie so many times and I remember so little. But like Baron Tamago, they're having their cool poetic rematch standoff thing. Baron Tamago is taking his sunglasses off. We see the scar where his eye used to be. Pedro's hair is gently getting blown out of the way, and we get to see his missing eye for the first time. I think for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think when on Zoe, like his eye was bandaged up, so it almost looked like he lost it then. But as we know, he lost it the last time he came to Whole Cake Island. We learned that Big Mom, had taken 50 years off of Pedro's life, and so that's a cool thing. And these two, this Jaguar Man and this Eggman, they're about to have this big showdown.
It's nice that they're doing because that's the next episode title, but that they're doing a marquee fight, like they're giving it its own episode title.
Yeah. So to wrap us up, we've got a scene where Reiju is now wandering the halls of the chateau. It's all dark and mysterious. She's bleeding from her leg. She's got blood all over her hands, getting on the walls. Who done it? We don't know. And then we come back to Luffy, who's doing it. He's like chewing on the bars, trying to get himself out. Not really working. The episode ends with, this is another weird, like,
it is.
Like the scene ends without anything really happening, but Luffy, he figures out.
Why not just do that?
Yeah, exactly. He's wrapping himself up in his own arms. Like, I guess he's gonna try to like rubber band himself really hard or something. And whether that will work, who knows? Because the episode ends. To be continued. General thoughts on these two episodes, Ed?
They were very much of a piece. It's easy watch back to back. Some really cool animation. Brooke and Pedro in particular got to be very cool. I like the sort of sneaking around espionage bits with Sanji and Reiju but yeah, the editing choices were weird for the cliffhangers for both episodes.
Yeah,
and it made it a little unsatisfying.
Because these two episodes are definitely they definitely go hand in hand. They cover a lot of similar material. They're just sort of the two halves of all these different scenes. I found the second episode significantly more satisfying because I thought it was way more animated. It was way more stylish. The direction was much more had much more of a perspective to it. Where the first of these two episodes was generally really flat. Like there wasn't much of a pulse going on.
And that long Chopper and Carrot section kind of
and it does help that the material being covered in the second episode is also more interesting. So it's I've definitely favored the second of these two episodes. It's almost like there are moments where recently where it feels like they're dragging certain episodes out so that other episodes can feel more packed or something. Which is kind of what it feels like happened here. But regardless, solid episodes at the very least. I thought the second episode was especially strong. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Ed. I think we can move on to the next segment.
All right.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories. Before we get started, since we have Godswill here with us from Funimation, I thought I'd ask him a little bit about how everything's going. How's life over at Funimation?
Things are amazing. The Sony acquisition just happened, and we are some things haven't changed though. We're still doing our thing, getting more series.
So you all don't get free PS4s? That's not part of the deal?
You know, I'm hoping that Christmas time rolls around and like, hey, everyone, here's a PS4 Pro. Still can hope. But yeah, nothing yet. We're just going as we always do. And then in the One Piece world, honestly, nothing new. We are doing actually something new that happened that we're gonna be posting pretty soon. I got a tattoo. Yeah,
Nice.
I got the Fishman Pirates tattoo. So
The Sun
Nice.
Pirates?
people will be able to
Wait,
see it.
like
Yeah,
the Sun Pirates?
yeah, the sun. Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
yeah,
I was gonna say not the Arlong Pirates.
I know, right? Like Arlong
Sorry.
tattoo?
I was thinking about Fishman Arc, but since that's what we're doing right now, but yeah, I got a Sun Pirate tattoo.
Cool.
Memory of Fisher Tiger, and yeah, we'll be posting that pretty soon. Pretty excited for that.
Yeah, because if you get the Arlong tattoo, you're gonna have to stab that off eventually, and that's not
Yeah,
that's
right.
not a fun process. That's really
Yeah.
cool. That's a good one. That's a good one to get. Cool. And yeah, the simulcast is still going on. Funimation Now and Funimation and Crunchyroll and everywhere else. So check that out if you haven't. So why don't we get into some questions? Ed, where do we begin?
DSP.
So if you're a Patreon subscriber and also are on Discord, you could ask us Dispiece questions. First one comes from Matt Martin, who says, so I realized that beige had grown to be my favorite supernova, Straw Hats excluded. I never really cared for his mafia stereotype earlier and thought his fruit, while cool, wasn't up to par with Law or Drake in terms of power. But after seeing how Oda expanded on his past, his relationship with his crew and family, and made some great gags with him, I realized he went from one of my most disliked characters to one of my favorites. Have there been any characters that you originally disliked but became one of your favorites?
I'm just an Italian stereotype. I don't know. I don't think I liked the Buggy arc very much when I first watched it because I watched it first in the anime. It was a little slow, but he's gone on to become one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I would agree with that one too.
Yeah, me too.
Like he's a lot better.
God, what have I gotten back on? Anyone else?
Bon
Chime in.
Clay.
I'm speaking out loud.
Bon Clay for me. Like I hated Bon Clay when I first saw him, but he drove me to tears in Impel Down. I can't wait till we hopefully see him one day.
Nice.
Bon Clay is another
Usopp
good one.
For me,
okay.
Because for Usopp, he wasn't my favorite Straw Hat until after I'm sorry, not Impel Down, after Enies Lobby arc. The whole Soga King, Sniper King thing happening. I was like, yep, okay. New favorite.
I would say Foxy. Foxy, which is kind of mirrors my thoughts on that arc as a whole, which is that I thought it was really annoying at first in all of the shenanigans, but now it's hysterical when you go back to that arc and just have a good time with it. So I really like him a lot more now.
That's an arc that works so much better in retrospect, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Steve.
Otohime I like a lot more now than I originally did. I used to say oh yeah, the Fishman Island flashback is great. The first half, the Otohime stuff, bleh. But no, I take that back. That entirely is a great flashback.
Anyone else? Okay, next question comes from Morgul, who says, what if the full moon transforms Carrot, into a giant berserk monkey rabbit, and the only way to turn her back is to cut off her fluffy tail?
Oh, no.
No, not her tail.
But blow up the moon.
Blow up the moon, yeah, I was going to say, that's the other option.
That's the only option.
And, we have a man who could do it, who's there right now. All right, so that's it for Dispiece. Ed, it's time for...
emails? Emails, right?
Emails.
Okay.
This one's from Jacob, who says, now that it's been semi-officially confirmed that tonight in the One Piece world is a full moon, I'm just about convinced that now we'll see the return of Pedro. This has more to do with Peckham's than with anyone else. Cat Viper said that Pedro was the main one to deal with Peckham's tendencies, thus he is set to return under the full moon to deal with Peckham's. That's very odd. There's not odd. There's a lot of inference there, I think. But what do you guys think?
I think it's just that he knows that Peckham's is more loyal to Big Mom than to the Minx as a whole. So, and that they had the past together. So I feel like that's probably more to do with it.
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
I could see this being an excuse to bring Pedro back to life. I don't know how, but it depends what the full moon does. Back to life might be a strong way to put it, but at least back from near death or the brink of death. All right, next one comes from Christian. He's looking at the preview for the next One Piece episode, and it seems that they have a new animator that looks a lot more stylized, like Gurren Lagann. Ed, I don't know if you saw this. Are you fine with things looking off-model to get good animation is the question that he has.
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Take chances, you know? I mean, the anime, I don't expect, like, quality, like, super quality anime every week, but if they're taking chances, that I will appreciate that.
It all depends. Like, we had that one episode weeks ago where you clearly had a different animator come in and highly render just Luffy and Nami just in a cell. That's when it's more obvious. But man, if we get these great action sequences and if the animator is going off model, as long as the animation is great, I don't care. And if anything, it just makes it more interesting seeing other people's takes on the series.
It's actually more interesting it's the opposite of actually the expectations on a show like Gurren Lagann, because if people remember, this is a 10 years ago controversy, but like episode 4 or episode 6 of Gurren Lagann was done by a guest director animator who I think was one of the founders of Gainax. He got such a negative response about it that he described the internet backlash as like putting his face next to an anus and inhaling deeply.
Wow. I love that.
It's very graphic.
They didn't like what he had. They didn't like his work, I guess.
So the guy was like, "Yeah, I had fun directing an episode of Gurren Lagann, but then after everyone else saw it, I eat ass now."
To each their own. Next question comes from Jeff. Is Katakuri a fishman? Perhaps an angler fishman? His big jaw makes me think so, but he's missing the dangling appendage on his head. Thoughts?
Those are female anglerfish.
The
Males are
dangling
not the ones
appendages?
with I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure about that. I'll double check that.
Ed knows a lot about anglerfish.
That's women for you, always trying to trap you.
Also, he literally just did a guy who was a secret fishman who got revealed. Like that would be super boring if he did that again in consecutive arcs.
Yeah. Also, wouldn't the dog tooth part have to play something into it? Wouldn't the dog tooth part play like more of an aspect into?
That was more of like a scan later bad translation decision. I think
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, we've had people get angry about that.
Yeah, never correct yourself, never apologize. That's their motto.
Kyle, it sounds like someone I'm familiar with. Kyle says, "Hey, podcast crew, I was wondering what you guys would love to accomplish if you were in the world of One Piece. For example, I would love to tell a joke that makes Whitebeard laugh." So, I mean, I could even
like
say bigger.
Seems kind of crazy there.
Sure.
I don't know.
Anyone else besides surviving?
Traveling would be okay, but that would also be hand in hand with like surviving, because some of the locations that the Straw Hats have visited are super cool and love to go see. But that also means I have to be strong enough to get there.
Yeah, everywhere is just dangerous.
I mean, yeah.
This is like as if we are like just humans as ourselves right now and just doing a thing in the One Piece world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
maybe I'll make it easy. Let me eat at Baratier. How about that?
I want to go diving like they did in the cover with the armadillos. That seems like a lot of fun.
You want to jump off a waterfall with a bunch of armadillos.
I mean, Usopp and Nami are doing it, so most likely everything's going to be okay, right?
Yeah, but they look like they're about to die in that.
It's because they're not doing sweet flips. That's why.
That's true.
I don't think that's how you would survive jumping off a waterfall, but you know, that's just me. Let's move to Reddit. Steven, what do we have?
Okay, we'll start with Samuel1698, who thinks that this chapter has settled the question of what Sanji's epithet would be if he was a proper Vinsmoke Quicksilver Sanji. Pudding's face just settled it for me. I want her for crewmate. Also, I've heard before from the One Piece subreddit, some people think that Rayleigh is the incarnation of Oda in the manga. What do you guys think about that? No.
I'll start with the end. Shanks is the incarnation of Oda in the manga. I mean, that's all there is to it.
I say you're both wrong, and I say Luffy is the incarnation.
I say Panda Man.
I say that guy who fixes doors, whose name I constantly forget, is the incarnation of Oda.
You say tomato, I say Luffy.
Tomato.
I do like
What's next?
Hipstere has good news and bad news for Zach this week. The good news is I've done some One Piece number crunching, which I know you love.
Yes.
Bad news is I have a feeling you may have to host an episode of your own podcast.
Oh, no. I hate hosting my own podcast.
Reaction.
It's the worst.
Okay, here we go. The Volume 87 cover featured a lineup of the antagonists of the arc, something Oda has done 3 times in the past with Volume 21, 42, and 77. Counting from the end of these volumes, the number of chapters to the end of each arc, that would be Alabasta, Enies Lobby, and Dressrosa, has been pretty consistent. 22 chapters, 21 chapters, and 26 chapters. If that holds true for Whole Cake Island, then 20 to 25 chapters from the end of Volume 87 puts us somewhere in the range of Chapter 899 to 904, which is dangerously close to Zach's guess of 901. So there you go.
Yeah,
Congrats,
that would be pretty bad if I had to host an episode of my podcast and not sick it on someone else. Kelly said 900 and Sam said 887. So I guess we're all primed to potentially win this contest according to that. I love the math though. He is correct. That is good news. Math. Yeah, and it's crazy that is consistent. Not a big sample size, though.
Well,
but,
yeah, I think it makes sense if it's like, okay, this is the lineup part of the arc where they're squaring off to fight the bad guys. So there's only so much time until the end from that point on. Our next comment is from Yeoman Axel, who has a crack theory. So I have to break out my best Alex Jones voice.
Oh, God.
You see, after years of fighting each other, Big Mom and Kaido fell in love. Granted.
Okay, I can't do this.
I was shocked you went on that long.
Yeah. It's not like it hurt.
Yeah. Granted, at the time, they were both as baked as a duo of Thanksgiving turkeys, but it was love all the same. So they hooked up and had a set of quadruplets. When both parents realized that the marriage wasn't going to work out, a titanic custody battle broke out, one that left half of the New World in ruins. The fate of 4 little babes and the world all hung in the balance, and the royal government was too scared to get involved. Eventually, at the urging of the other emperors, a settlement was reached. Kaido admitted that he had less experience at child raising and agreed to take only one of the kids, and Big Mom got the other 3. Those 3 kids became what we know today as Katakuri, Oven, and Daifuku. Big Mom wanted to name the 4th one Cracker Jack, and Kaido, liking the last part, named him Jack. Once every year on Thanksgiving Day, Jack comes to Whole Cake and shares a lovely meal with his extended family. I have to say, like many of Alex Jones's rants, that made absolutely no sense. But
like the part where Jack's a fishman?
Not addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's no friggin' gay frogs either, or apocalypse vitamins.
It's interdimensional Satanism. It's real.
Goblin vomit.
All right, we'll move on to DDDD Freed, who says, with Hey OP Privateers, with good pudding back on the table, it's time we come up with the definitive Sanji pudding wedding hashtag. Well, they already had the wedding. With Sanji's cooking background and pudding's devil fruit power, there are a lot of options to choose from. Hashtag Sanji's pudding. Hashtag pudding making memories. Hashtag cooking up love. Hashtag Germa double hearts. Hashtag black leg pudding. What else can you come up with? Yeah, I don't do hashtags, so I don't know. Is anybody else?
I liked black leg pudding. I thought that was nice.
I like Germa double hearts.
I like some black leg pudding.
I'm sure
Hashtag under siege.
You see, I assume that Germa would have probably been the ones in charge of the hashtags. They seem a little more technologically savvy. So
they're They're big on self promotion.
They are.
comic strip and
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
Are they the lamest characters who would say the word hashtag before saying things
Yes.
out loud?
Yonji.
Yonji.
Any other take? Yeah,
We'll
Yonji
have
would do like
would.
hashtag lame brother. Hashtag gonna kick you in the face the next time I see you. Hashtag does anyone actually look up these hashtags?
No, Yonji, you're not supposed to put space in those hashtags. Hashtag shut your face.
With an exclamation point.
Weekend at Wansies wants to know who is the Rich Evans of the One Piece podcast.
Can someone explain this to me?
Don't
Is
know what
that the guy with the really crazy laugh from Red Letter Media? I think that's who that is.
I don't know. Alex might know who this person is. I'm
Yeah.
not sure anyone here does.
Anytime there's a question, who is the blank of the One Piece podcast? It's usually Firecrouch is the answer. So we're gonna say Firecrouch.
Yeah, you were right about who that was.
What was the
And
question?
who the Rich Evans of the podcast is? Is it Firecrouch? Because I don't know who this is.
No, you don't watch Red Letter Media?
No.
God,
Enlighten us.
Please, don't just leave us in the dark.
No one here watches Red Letter Media?
No.
With me?
No.
Rich Evans he's normally the butt of many jokes. Like he's the nerdiest one, the most unattractive to some, and he laughs a lot. He has a very contagious, high-pitched laughter. So I think I will vote for myself.
You do have that.
That all sounds like Firecrouch to me, but okay.
Although I'm pretty sure
I've never heard Firecrouch laugh.
I don't think he ever has laughed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right, enough of this. We'll go on to SD Custer, who watched the most recent episode of the anime on the Crunchyroll app and noticed that their subs used chess peacekeepers. Most other naming conventions match up with the official Viz translation as well. So assuming the simulcast subs on Crunchyroll are Funimation's official, do you have any rapport with the translators from the anime team, or did they just use Viz as a reference for consistency? I have no idea. I mean, I know Godswill, you're on the more on the social media side, so I don't know if you would have any idea.
Unfortunately, I don't. Yeah, I was actually hoping that you would feel this.
Yeah,
so I do.
Wait, Dennis, how do you know?
I help Alexi with the style sheets, and Toei asks Alexi about style sheet updates.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's the answer. Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, I have noticed as well from people mentioning. So I don't keep up on the anime, but I've noticed from people's comments and stuff that it does seem like they do use a lot of the creative choices that we set up, and I don't. If it's enforced from the top down by Toei, then that makes total sense. I have no idea if they look at that as like, oh, I would have done this instead, or whether they think we're on the right track. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know who does the subtitles, but I think it's cool that we don't have like separate versions of stuff, and it makes me feel like some of the creative choices that I come up with have more weight than just being printed in the volumes themselves. That there's somewhat of a style Bible that gets put together.
Oh. Actually, here's one that I thought about from the anime today, that they were like in the house in the Miro world, and the crocodile was like a crocalicious. Like, I think, was that one of them?
No, I called the crocodile the aristocroc.
Oh, the aristocroc, that was it.
Yeah.
No, but he was making a pun of like he saw a carrot dangling over the soup pot, and he's like, it looks crocalicious. That might have been a filler thing.
Yeah, that may have been added for the anime, or that may have been the anime translators kind of taking part in the spirit of a lot of my puns as well. So
yeah, like what would Steven say?
That is what Steven would say.
Yeah. So yeah, there's I think those like the arrangements for how the different sides of like a multimedia franchise handle the naming set. It kind of depends on the series, but obviously I think it's in everyone's best interest to be as unified as possible.
Which is good to hear, since I think almost every anime company has a little bit of a hand in One Piece's pot. So it's good to see everyone working together.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, as far as my side is concerned, like I get the chapter and then I do my best with it. Like there's no like, Shueisha doesn't come in with like here's what you have to call this and this and this. It's all like I'm pretty much coming up with whatever I think fits best when something new comes into the story. So a Jedi with no name wants to know, if you were to make a Mystery Science Theater episode of one of the One Piece films, which one would it be?
Besides the Peace Arc, which is not a film.
Movie 8, maybe? I mean, movie 8's bad enough.
No. I was about to say no to movie 8.
We tried to do that.
The commentary for that.
It was so bad.
I think I got sick after that.
I think we fell asleep in the middle.
Movie 7?
Movie 7 isn't like absurdly terrible.
Man.
No, that's a hard question because
it's hard because like I care about One Piece, so it's like I can't talk shit about it for like an entire length.
I think the filler arcs are like the only thing that pop into my head that are like deserving of that kind of treatment. Some of them, not all of them.
It's more so anger out of fun. But it's just gonna have to pick a movie, right? Movie 7 did had the bouncing boobies.
Well, that covers one scene.
One.
All right. What's next?
Okay. Fierce Alchemist wants to know, what do you think the arc will be for Bedge and his crew after Whole Cake Island? Do you think they'll join the Straw Hat Fleet by the end of the series?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because they definitely seem to have their own thing right now.
I mean, I could definitely see them being allies after this, despite what they had said at the beginning.
He would probably be gunning for Luffy's head then, because that's what he does.
True.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, is how do their motivations not conflict with each other?
I see like a friendly rivalry thing where they leave and they're like, all right, so long, suckers, blah blah blah, and then he's like, next time we meet, I'll take you down, Luffy, and then they sail off laughing, that sort of thing. But I don't see the thing with the Straw Hat Fleet is it's like with Law's ship too. Like he didn't join the Straw Hat Fleet. Like those are subordinates, and I feel like the Supernovas are more like equals to Luffy. I don't think they would join under his rule or his banner or whatever. Raynard Not a Fox wants to know, do you think that by the end of this arc or a cover story, Pudding will erect a shrine to Sanji to fawn over in complete secrecy from her family, a la Helga from Hey Arnold?
Oh, God. It's pieces of Sanji's hair.
I could totally see that.
Discarded cigarette butts.
Oh, no.
I mean, she hasn't been hiding her love for Sanji very well in these last couple chapters, so I don't know if it necessarily needs to be a secret. She is married to him in a way.
Yeah.
Well, no, she isn't technically. I mean, I don't know what the notary laws are like in Whole Cake Island. What's next?
Our very own Chow wants to know, I was thinking how One Piece currently has 3 separate but official translations in Chinese, which is a common feature in the licensing of media in the Greater China region. So here's the question. If One Piece were to be translated separately among the major English-speaking countries, US, UK, Canada, and Australia, how different would they be? Feel free to discuss stereotypes. I mean, there's no other way to do it than discussing stereotypes. So,
we are
Chip
really
Island would actually be the same, right?
We're really trying to offend every country on this podcast the last few weeks. I mean, the only way to do it is to have stereotypes. Like, it's like the 4Kids stuff, basically, where, what was it, the rice cakes became cookies? And in Australia, I can't even think of an
He's
Australian
Black Boot Sanji.
Yeah.
Because they just fight with the boot.
Yeah, you'll get booted. You'll get a boot.
Yeah,
it's on their flag.
Instead of killing the Arlong, he gave Belmer the boot.
Yeah, exactly. In the UK, I mean, besides the spellings being slightly different everywhere, I don't even know.
They would have an OU instead of an OUR instead of OR.
All the parties, instead of drinking booze, they're all drinking tea.
In Canada, everyone's eating poutine all the time.
In the Australian version, all of the drinks are beer.
Yeah. Just not possible.
Everything we know about Australia is from The Simpsons, if this isn't clear at this point. Which, of course, is extremely accurate. Yeah.
He's the minister of Bloomin' Onion Island.
There would be everyone would, instead of swords, would have boomerangs there.
All right. John Garcha has a simple question. How gay is Nami? What? I mean, there's a lot of evidence. She's pretty immune to the charms of the men in One Piece.
And I mean, God, are they attractive?
Some of them are.
As shown by this episode.
Sanji in particular, so I mean, I don't know if that's a good test subject.
Yeah. Now I kind of wish we could tell that to all the people who buy those POPs.
He's very comfortable about bathing around other women.
I mean, that's also a Japanese thing. I mean, just that's not a.
Yeah, I never really thought of her as like having like a sexual romantic love for women, just more like a comfortableness, around women for sure.
I never really thought about that at all.
I feel like everyone's pretty asexual, honestly, except for Sanji.
She's her own independent woman.
Yep.
Pretty much about that paper, right? For the coin.
Right.
Yeah. Sarah, speaking of money, Sailor Cardinal wants to know, how would you make a One Piece themed Monopoly game?
Whew. I mean, I guess the winner would be.
What would the pieces be?
I mean, I would. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, Zach, please.
No. So the railroads would be ships. That's what they'd be, and like the boardwalk would be like Marineford or Raftel.
I mean, I think what makes the most sense, maybe at the end of the series when we have more of this information, would be to have them as like the 4 emperors and each, or like I'm trying to think of big territories in general, and the little parts under them would probably work best for setting that board up. I guess they don't just have to be the 4 emperors, but it could be the world government.
Or I wonder who
the 4 railroads be the 4 seas.
Yeah,
like North Blue, South Blue.
Yeah. Go to jail with the Navy. Go down probably.
The mascot character is just Nami in a top hat and a mustache.
See, all you guys are dumb. Because I would just have it based on the Dressrosa arc. Takes a really long time to finish. You might not even finish it on your first go. You might step away from it for a while. You might get back to it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, nothing really happens.
At the day, you really didn't feel like you accomplished anything. It's not your favorite board game.
But it's not a bad board game. It's not a bad board game.
You don't hate board games anymore, but you kind of have board game fatigue after playing it.
You get angry at your friends because you have differences of opinions about it.
Like their favorite mascot is the Monopoly guy, and you're like, what's wrong with you? He's not the best mascot.
Yeah, I always have those Monopoly-themed arguments with my friends. And what's next?
Let's see. Let's go with Nivers, who wants to know, what fictional Simpsons item would you give each of the Straw Hats for Christmas or some other winter gift giving holiday? I would give Carrot a copy of Fuzzy Bunny's Guide to You Know What, and Nami a juice loosener so she won't have to squeeze tangerines against her forehead when Sanji is not around to do it for her.
I would give Zoro, what is it? Johnny doesn't.
Don't do what Donnie don't does.
The
knife safety book.
The knife safety book.
Is it just the Straw Hats, or could we give the other One Piece characters?
Go crazy.
Go wild, yeah.
I would like to give Makino a pamphlet, So You Ruined Your Life.
Chopper likes sweet things. He can have nuts and gum together at last.
There's a lot of good choices.
Someone give Bon Claire Ivankov the makeup gun.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh my God!
Blinkwell?
Give Magellan the sorry, I'm on Homer Inventions, but give Magellan the chair that is also
Spider.
Or no, also a toilet. That one.
Yeah.
Give Luffy a subscription to Omaha Steaks.
Man, I know there's more good ones out there, but
yeah, let's just go to the next
stuff. Let's see. Shadow Khan has says we got snail ships that climb walls to form a moving kingdom, a sentient tree stump, a giant cat, a motorized caterpillar, and now a seal balancing on a ball as modes of transportation. Why is there a discussion on the legitimacy of this arc? You got me. It's legit to me.
Well, by the way, we had a giant. What was Robin's turtle, right? Bocce. These kind of ridiculous types of transportation are very commonplace in One Piece. Yeah. Plus, those are
Alabasta arc started it.
Plus, everything this guy named are my favorite parts of this arc. So
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So the seal on the ball that just topped everything.
That topped it. Come on, I mean, Steve, aren't the animals doing ridiculous things or in ridiculous roles one of the better cool parts?
Totally,
of One Piece?
it's why this arc is in my top 5 arcs. Totally,
that's how I rank arcs.
The Cali coach is my favorite backstory.
That's why Zoe's one of my favorite. Go ahead.
Let's go with the last question here from Prince of Assassins. I'm just going to paraphrase it here. Who mentions all of these common theories about the moon and the minks with the were minks, or the DBZ references turning into big monsters. I was wondering if Oda would telegraph us that hard, or if he would subvert it by having them power up in another way. One idea I had was that they would be able to produce more electricity, and I think there's some interesting ideas that could be done with this in the future. Like the whole manga logic idea of taking a science element like humans using electricity across nerves, and then saying if there's more electricity, they can use that to amplify their speed. What do you think is going to happen?
Then it just makes the Eneru on the moon stuff even more weird if it's electrical.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it would amp up the previously established kind of theme, but I would kind of feel like that would be a bit boring if it was just electricity but more. I feel like it needs to be something more surprising and crazy. I don't know. It's hard to see something other than like a transformation angle, especially because I feel like Carrot is the best person to use that on, because she is like the cutest and seemingly most harmless if you just look at her. So I feel like the effect of having a really crazy transformation would be the most effective with her. But I don't know. Honestly, I think I'm officially out of more ideas for the mink superpower at this point until we see more.
I still just like the Saiyan homage, but probably not. Is that it?
Yeah, we can move on from Reddit.
What's next, Dad?
Time to piece the tweet. Yeah.
What do we have this week?
I think it's time to piece the tweet. Our first question is from our very own Chow, who says, "Who is the best Charlotte girl?"
Smoothie.
I mean, after this chapter, putting her rankings are shooting up, but I do agree that Smoothie is very high up on the.
I forgot that Pudding does count, and Pudding has really gone up in the ranks for me recently. But I do like Smoothie. I want Compote to do something.
with her funky fruit hat.
Yes.
Gillette, Charlotte Gillette is also there. She has a very evil face, though.
Yeah.
Was this aside from Big Mom? Because I mean, she's
honestly, yeah. Well, I mean,
girl,
yeah, sure.
I think they. I think they probably mean actual daughter.
Not moms.
Yeah, not moms. Ed?
My one problem with I'm sorry, Ed.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna move on.
My one problem with Galette is she pretty much copped Jin Rami's color scheme.
Oh yeah. Well, she does have better fashion sense than Jin Rami.
Depending on your aesthetic.
I guess.
I like the Mad Max stuff that's going on with their crew.
I need to go back and find the from the anime episode from 7-8 months ago with the oddly drawn Jin Rami. I'll retweet that.
Never mind.
Anyway, Alpha Union asks, regarding the full moon powers, is it possible if Katakuri has part of mink DNA and he also awakens his mink power along with Carrot since Luffy wanted to defeat Katakuri at Katakuri's full strength?
So far this week, Katakuri has been a fishman hiding in secret and a mink hiding in secret. Yeah. Who the hell
I think
knows?
he's a guy with a weird mouth.
Yeah, I do too. Sometimes people just have weird mouths. Yeah.
All right, next one comes from Dr. Sim Adoku, who says, the triplet of Katakuri, or the trio of Katakuri, Oven, and Daifuku have each treated their Moe sisters differently. Katakuri was protective, Oven went by the letter of the law, and Daifuku didn't care for failure. So you just wanted to point that out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway. Next one comes from Sniper of My Heart, who says, if Luffy did become able to see a few seconds into the future, what's the silliest thing he would do with it?
He'd wait to see when the refrigerator is about to open, and then he'd be there right away.
That's what this guy said.
I was kind of holding off. I was holding off on that. He says, "I vote finding out the combo for the fridge lock."
Ah,
yeah, that's a dangerous power for Luffy to have. Now that I think about it,
I don't think you can move that fast.
It only works when he's hungry, so it works all the time.
But what other silly things could he get into? I just figured that they'd be all food related.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there has to be an element of personal motivation behind it for it to work. So it's kind of natural that that's how Luffy would apply it.
5 seconds of forethought. When Luffy gives things forethought, he's being serious. When he's being goofy, if he's being silly, he isn't actually thinking about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Next one comes from Michael Abbott. Bottlenose Dolphin. I see. It seems like we are getting one-on-one fights now. Any matchups you want to see in particular?
Really want to see Oven and Sanji.
I guess, I mean...
Don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
I wonder if Jinbei's going to get any fights.
I could see that.
I would really love to see him go all out. We've never really seen him go.
That's true.
I'd like to see Smoothie fight anyone, really. I forget where she is right now, but I would like to see her fight.
She's probably on one of those ships.
Chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what everyone's doing, is either chasing or coordinating the chasing.
Right.
She's a doer more than a coordinator.
Yeah.
All right. Our very own Ash, again, says, you ask Oda in an SBS question what the One Piece world or planet is called, and he gives you the honor of naming it. What do you call it?
Wow.
Peace, because then it's the one piece.
Get out of here.
I'm gone.
Call it Planetos. Boom. Crossover. It's in the world of Ice and Fire.
Enaru's backyard. Because he lives on the moon, you see. Anyone else?
I got nothing.
Okay. Next one comes from Shogun Taz, who says, Carrot mentioned the moon in the most recent chapter. Do you guys think that since there are 6 different moons in One Piece, that each moon will give the minks different power-ups?
I like it.
Earth.
It'll be like
wind,
Frank.
I was like a second away from doing it too, Steven.
Captain Carrot.
Yes. Captain Carrot. She's a hero. Gonna take
I'm moving on.
Whole Cake Island down to 0.
My Lily Fern asks, what do you think of the theory about being the one who rejected Loki and then changing everyone's memory to it being Lola and then escaping? Or Lola who then escaped.
It seems quite possible.
Like, can Pudding change memories? Like, I thought she just only like takes them out.
Well, she can. I think she could like recut it, like re-edit it, so that that's how they remember it. Even if she doesn't create like the memory itself. I mean, that's kind of how she's been manipulating them.
Makes sense.
Like, because didn't she swap Reiju's memories with that of a soldier who got shot? Right. So that'd be a great twist.
Yeah. Next one comes from Quick Quest, who says, is it possible Caesar wasn't supposed to be with Veg, but an editor pointed out the similar design and Oda ran with it?
No.
Similar design?
I don't really see a similar design there, but...
I mean, he was a story element.
Talking about,
like...
Yeah.
No, he's talking about Gastino. He's talking as if this...
I think that was planned from the outset. I think that was planned.
I thought the question was like, oh, like Oda drew Gastino, and an editor was like, that looks like Caesar. Like, oh, I guess I'll be Caesar.
Okay,
sure.
I guess I didn't understand the question.
That's just what I'm taking from it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. Next one comes from Jason Nama, who says, what are your thoughts on the panel in Chapter 861 showing Katakuri holding food with a bite taken out of it? Is it a discrepancy?
You fucked up.
If in the future, people should take screenshots of this and include it with the question if you want to ask it.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's possible Oda made a mistake there. Anyway, next one comes from Big News Beppo. This is the last one. Simple question: who is a better mom, Big Mom or Medusa from Soul Eater?
God, I translated like the last 5 or 10 volumes of that manga, and I don't even remember that character.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. She seemed to like actively. I don't know. From what I remember of it, she sort of plotted against her child. From what she seemed
like she was evil the whole time, wasn't she?
Yeah, like Big Mom has this deal where she's sort of, I don't know, she's clearly evil, but there's something about her that there was a lost innocence back at the beginning, and she doesn't. I don't like. She seems like she likes to have a lot of fun and involve her children in that, but also she will kill them. So it's kind of whimsical in that way. She isn't like plotting ways to hurt them.
When she kills them, it's more like they messed up themselves. They betrayed the family somehow, and you have to get rid of them. Although, don't get me wrong, that's not what parents should do. When you mess up and it's like, oh, you're dead.
It's a little more understandable than plotting against your children.
Yeah, from the get-go, for sure.
But yeah, that's it for Piece the Tweet this week.
Thank you, Ed. Why don't we round off the podcast?
Sure.
Okay.
All right.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 497 for the week of Monday, November 27th. Good episode today, you guys. Anime recap for 813 and 814. I want to give a big thanks to Sam and Ed for going through those with us. We also had a manga recap for 886, some Piece Together, and a lot more. We're going to have some trivia at the end of the show, so stick around for that. But before we get into that, first, let's see where everyone could contact you. Godswill, where could people find you?
I am on Twitter at GeneralG23, and then also you can find me on Instagram. I'm trying to get into it. I don't take a lot of pictures, but I'm trying to fix that. I'm at GeneralG2, and you can follow me on my Facebook too if you're interested. I'm at Godswill Ugwa Jr., and you'll see me with a hat.
Wow.
Godsville's got a new hat.
I got a new hat. I like it a lot.
Steven, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
Dennis.
I'll take the longest. You can find me playing a little game called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp or on social media, Twitter and Instagram at ItchNob. And I do a podcast where I watch older anime titles with friends while drinking wine on it. And it's on a vintageanimeclub.com. And actually had Brian on, frequent One Piece guest.
Rick
Brian
and Morty
Newton.
animation.
Rick and Morty
director.
animation, yeah. We talked about the finale for Outlaw Star most recently.
Ooh. Yeah, we've talked about that show a few times today already. Steve, where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Steve Yurko, all one word. That's where I'll be.
Ed, where can people find us?
You are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I'm Edward E. One Piece. The podcast can be found at onepiecepodcast.com, twitter.com, youtube.com, and facebook.com/onepiecepodcast, patreon.com/onepiecepodcast. Please support us there. We just released a new Patreon exclusive episode, so if you're a supporter at the $10 level, you should check that out. And see it. Our reddit.com/r/onepiecepodcast to leave us some piece together. onepiecepodcast@gmail.com is our email address. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. Subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone number, Zach.
And that phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
Maji.
That phone number again, 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your
Give us a
question.
call.
With your questions, your comments, your theories, and a kiss from a rose. Thank you all so much for coming on. And before we go, we were playing... we should probably come up with a name for this game at some point before next year. Trivia. The way this works, I'm going to say the name of a group of people of some sort or, some category where you have to name... we'll go through the list in the order that you received pages. So this week, it'll be Ed, then Dennis, then Steven, then Steve, and then Godswill. You will each have to name one, and when you either repeat one, or you can't name one, or time runs out, you will be kicked out. The winner will receive one free donut next time they see me. And it is your responsibility to keep track of how many donuts I owe you. Because I am not. Or at least maybe the audience could help with that.
So what's the category again?
So I haven't set the category yet.
Okay.
So this week we're going to do the Whitebeard Division Commanders, which I'm sure you all remember flawlessly. Yes, this one's a bad one. But I was trying to think of one where there was a decent amount of people, and this one was the one for some reason that came to me. So this includes currently living or currently dead. So there are 16 of them. You're gonna have 5 seconds after either I say your name or the previous person goes. So Ed, please begin. It's the commanders and the commander, if you get my drift.
Okay.
We're gonna start. Ed, now.
Thatch.
Okay. Dennis.
Whitebeard.
Damn.
It's low hanging fruit.
Take the easy one.
Steven.
Ace.
Also easy. Steve.
Marco.
Now Godswill.
Crap, I'm trying not to cheat either. Okay, I can't do it.
None? Okay.
No.
Yeah, because everyone that you guys said, I was going to say.
It's possible that those were the easiest ones. Ed.
Oh, the Vista.
The Vista indeed. Dennis.
Jozu.
Nice. Steven.
Namule. Or Namur.
There he is. I'm using the One Piece wiki, which has some...
Yeah, there's no... Like, the rest of them aren't really characters, so to speak, so we kind of have different
It gets
versions of their
interesting
names.
here. Steve.
The one with the cleft chin.
Cool. You got 3 seconds. And Steve's out.
Guy.
Guy is not one of them. Ed.
Atmos.
Nice. The one with the coolest name. Dennis.
Whitey Bay.
No, that's one of the allies.
I'm out.
So we're down to Steven and Ed. Sorry, so Steven, you're next.
Haruta.
Ed.
I forget his name. It's Dreadlock Chain Chomp, but I can't remember his actual name.
Dreadlock.
You gotta give him a half point for Dreadlock Chain Chomp.
Do I have to give him? That?
I still lose. I mean,
It's probably something like stupid easy, like manual or something.
Well, I'm gonna give Steven a chance to name any others that he may know.
Izo.
Yeah. Any others? Steven? Give it a shot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 left, I think.
I think that was the last one I had up my sleeve.
I think Blamenko...
Is Haruta one?
I did that one.
Yeah, he did that already.
Okay, I got it.
All right,
What was that?
Yeah.
Haruta is the Japanese one. No, that's Izu. I'm sorry. Haruta is the English one.
It's like
Peter Pan one?
The real
Pan
pale
one.
looking.
Blamenko is the one who has pockets.
So Zach, can you just go in order, like from bottom to top?
Well, you said we got Whitebeard, Marco, Ace, Jozu, Thatch, Vista. You got all those. Blamenko is the pocket guy. Rakuyo, I'm looking at a picture of him and I don't remember him. Namer, we said he's the fishman. Blenheim, I also have no idea who that is, and I'm looking at a picture of him.
I remember the name. I just remember thinking it was dumb.
Curiel looks like the Scratchman Apu ripoff.
Oh, Curiel actually had that.
King Do is the He-Man ripoff.
I thought that was Atmos. I thought that's who I was talking about.
Haruta, we did Peter Pan. Atmos looks like he's a Viking. Jiru, I think, might be the Chain Chomp guy. There's Fosa, who looks like every other One Piece character. He's got a mustache and a cigar. And Izu. So, good job, guys. That was better than I expected there. Steven, again, our winner. I'm going to owe him a box of donuts when I see him.
He's going to claim like a dozen.
He'll settle for Timbits.
So thank you all for playing. We'll do a less esoteric one maybe next week. So for the One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
My name's Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week with an all new manga, all new anime, and a lot more. Goodbye, everyone.
Mahalo.
Ohana.
Those are female anglerfish.